Hello, everybody, and welcome to my Week 16 NFL picks. And this is a special edition of the picks because I have my dad, Richard Reegs, along with me. Because basically everything that I know about football was because of him. In 1983, he taught me about point spreads. Remember back then, Dad?
Old Pete Elkstone. Yep. We remember talking about point spreads. The game is not even. I mean, there are some games that are even, but there's always points to kind of like make the difference between whatever. 7 points means you need the 7 points to start the game, and that's the way it goes. And boy, I think today the games are so much tougher to pick than they were back in the 80s and 70s when you had strength teams like the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Those teams, when they were favored big, they usually covered. Those days are over. Now, parity, it's probably the best the NFL has seen as far as parity is concerned. They like to see each game tough to pick. And the bookies like it too.
You mean back then, you don't think Tampa Bay getting 24.5 points was going to upset the Dallas Cowboys in 1977?
Tampa, oh yeah, was that when they had like 0-26, I think. They lost their first
They were
26
an awesome
games in a row.
team.
Yeah.
Almost as good as this year's Jets and this year's Tennessee Titans. I have to tell you, before we get into the award-winning picks this week, the Tennessee Titans with that effort against the New York Giants. What'd you think of that 36-7 loss? Wasn't that awesome?
Tell you, they must have
really
stayed
showed up.
They must have stayed in the dressing room.
I feel bad for the fans that went to that game because they paid money to watch that crap.
Really.
All right, so
Games are tough, though.
and one other thing too we wanted to talk about before that we make our award-winning picks this week. Well, they're not award-winning. I just like to say that to be funny because without fun and laughter, what's the point of watching this thing?
Exactly.
How come your attitude about rooting for the team, which we know you're a Patriots fan. Sorry, Denver fans. My dad's a Patriots fan. We live in Boston. If you don't like it, don't watch the video, okay? He likes the Patriots, but there's one difference between him and like people I work with who already had the Patriots winning the Super Bowl, which I said, you know what? They got a great shot, but you can't assume anything. It's Week 16.
Absolutely.
You're not a puke homer.
No.
How come?
Well, because I've seen it too many times. So, of course, they won 3, but the 2 they lost. I mean, the Patriots seem to have problems with teams when they get punched in the mouth. They don't respond. However, this year's team seems to be a little different with the defense with the addition of Darrelle Revis. And I'm impressed, even though Sunday I didn't think that was their best effort. Defensively, it was a real good effort. Offensively, it was kind of poor.
No, they did struggle at times, but they proved what good teams do. Good teams win when they don't play well, which they did. They played very average on offense, but you know what? Edelman made an awesome play late in the game to get them up by 9 points to put that game away.
Absolutely.
So,
Right.
all right, now on to this week's games. Thursday night game coming up. The Arizona Cardinals are getting 3.5 points at the St. Louis Rams. The Rams are coming off back-to-back shutouts, and they're up to 6-7. What do you think? What's your opinion of this game?
I like the way that the Rams are playing right now. They've won 3 out of the last 4, and they got thoroughly, beaten the last quarter, the last time they played Arizona. I like them to, in the return in this division against an opponent, I like the Rams to win the game by more than 3.5 on Thursday night.
And this will be one. See, this is why it's nice to have a dialogue here. I disagree respectfully. I take Arizona with the 3.5 points because Arizona is 10-3. They have a very good defense. I have a lot of respect for what St. Louis is doing. Heck, they beat the crap out of my team, the Broncos, a few weeks ago. I like Arizona to win in a close affair, like 21-17. All right, on to the game that I'm interested in now. The Chargers are getting 4.5 at home against Denver. As you just watched the Chargers now, what's your opinions on the Denver traveling to San Diego?
Well, it seems in the Patriots game what happened when their punter got hurt. It seemed like the team, there was air come out of the bag. They were just terrible after that. I mean, they got nothing in the second half. They got no points at all. I think I have to like Denver in this game to cover. by the, what, 4.5 point?
4.5.
Yeah, I think Denver will cover. It was very disappointing with the effort from San Diego. I wasn't really that disappointed because I like the Patriots, but it wasn't the greatest effort in the world for San Diego.
As an observer of the game, remember when we're doing these picks, you're picking what you think's going to happen.
Exactly.
Not what you want to happen. Because
Right.
if you pick what you want to happen, what's going to happen?
You're usually
gonna,
wrong.
You're going to be like that 1976 Tampa Bay team.
Right. Oh,
Ofa.
right. Yeah, right.
Okay. I like Denver to cover. I think it's going to be tough because San Diego, I have a lot of respect for them. Rivers is a good quarterback.
And it's a division game.
It's a divisional game, and it's tough to beat the same team twice. The Broncos are a better team, and they need to win this game to stay pace with New England, or at the very least, if they win, they clinch their division. They've been running the ball very well, and their defense has been causing some turnovers. Manning has made me a little scared because the ball's floating out of his hands. He doesn't look right the last 2 games. I wonder if he's protecting an injury. I'm not sure. But it'll be nice and warm in San Diego, and I'm thinking this will be a perfect game for him to get himself back
He's
together.
back on track.
All right, next game is your game. The Patriots are favored by 8.5 points against the
Is it
Miami
8.5?
Dolphins.
Oh, 7.5.
Okay, whatever it is. I'm making it 8.5 because
Okay.
it doesn't matter.
All right. Well,
You
I
make your
think-
opinion first.
I think. Well, first, you can't go into the game thinking it's automatic because of the way they've been playing. However,
Well, you're not a puke hole? Okay,
no,
go
I'm not a
ahead.
pure Palmer, but hopefully, I would think that the Patriots will show up in Sunday, and it'll be payback for the first game of the year. And they have been playing phenomenal football at home, with exception early in the season against Lake Oakland. But I think the Patriots should cover the 7.5 point spread on Sunday.
What's your score? I'm just curious. Let's do the game. How many points can Miami score?
I think Miami will probably score maybe 17, and I think the Patriots will probably get about 30. I'd say it's about 30 to 17.
I like that. One word. Tom Brady's career record against the Miami Dolphins at home since 2001. How many times has he lost to Miami in Foxborough? Once. And there's a little bit of an asterisk in that game. It was the last game of the year in 2005. Castle played 3/4 of the game, and I remember Castle airmailing a pass at the end of the game to go for a 2-point conversion where they lost on purpose so they could play Jacksonville's instead of Pittsburgh in that game. It was very obvious. So he lost the game basically that they didn't want to win. Every other time he's beat Miami here, he beats Miami here. Patriots defense is playing great. We'll play the game. I think Miami scores 14. I think New England scores 31. And another aside, too. Tom Brady has not lost an AFC game at home, not including the playoffs, since 2006. They lost to San Fran a couple of years ago, and Arizona, and the Giants.
Those are
They have
NFC
not
games.
lost an AFC game since 06. So I think that's pretty ironclad.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I agree with you.
All right, as I'm looking down here, see, we do have props. The next game I have is sorry, technical difficulties. The Cowboys are getting 3.5 points at Philadelphia. And it's a Sunday night game.
Well, I'll tell you, Thanksgiving Day, that was an absolute beating that Philadelphia put on Dallas. Dallas depends so much on DeMarcus Murray running the ball and even some receiving. But that was a terrible effort on Thanksgiving Day. But I think that they should rebound and it'd be a competitive game. I like Dallas to win a relatively close game. I think they'll cover. I mean, excuse me,
They get 3.5.
I think they'll win the game.
They're going to
outright.
win the
Yeah,
game. So they'll be in control of the NFC East.
I believe so.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think Dallas will avenge the loss. They play a poor man's version of what Seattle does. They like to run and punch you. Philadelphia wilted last week against that, basically. And I always tell most people, as much as Sanchez has played well, I do not trust Mark Sanchez. Dallas 27, Philly 23. All right. The next game is the Johnny Manziel Bowl. The Cleveland Browns host the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati is a half, so it's basically a pick'em game. So what do you think of the old Brownies?
I think that they're in trouble with the rookie quarterback. I'd have to take Cincinnati in the game. It's a big game for Cincinnati. They got to keep winning. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are all close together. You have Pittsburgh and whatever.
Baltimore.
So consequently, right, Baltimore. So I think that I have to like Cincinnati. They're going to rebound from that terrible effort they put in last week against Pittsburgh at home.
Yeah, they kind of wilted in that game. Andy Dalton did an Andy Dalton.
They were pathetic in that game.
I know, something about that team. They just annoy me. The Cincinnati Bengals are a frustrating team because they have oodles of talent. They should be better, but yet they seem like they can't get out of their own way, basically. But in this game, I have zero faith in Johnny Manziel. I know Cleveland has a good defense. They did a very good job with Andrew Luck this week. Andrew Luck struggled big time. But I'm going to pick Cincinnati to win this game. 28-17. I don't trust Manziel at all. Next game is another of that same division. Pittsburgh is favored by 1.5 against Matty Ice. Matty Choke overrated Ice. Ask your cousin. How's he think of Matty?
He loves Matty. When he
played
went to
good.
BC, he loves him to go really. Although I wish we had taken him with the points last night. Boy, I tell you, Green Bay blew that 31-7 lead at halftime. But in this game, I think I'd have to take Pittsburgh in this game. It's very important for them to win the game. And actually, it's important for Atlanta, too, to win the game because somebody's going to win that division with an under 500 record, which is pretty ugly. But I think I'd have to take Pittsburgh in the game.
I take Pittsburgh as well. I don't trust Atlanta's defense. They can't stop anybody. Pittsburgh played very well last week. I was impressed. Cincinnati does have a good defense, and they put 41 up on them. And that Le'Veon Bell is fantastic. He's such a good running back. He really is. Yeah. He's playing well. 31-21 Steelers. All right, next game. The team that we just heard last night, Green Bay's minus 4.5 at Buffalo, a team that backdoored against the Broncos this week.
Okay, Green Bay at Buffalo, huh? I don't know. I don't like Kyle Orton as quarterback. So therefore, I'd have to take the Green Bay Packers. Mr. Rogers has done a great job, although that's pretty ugly second half last night against Atlanta. But I'd have to take. I think Green Bay can beat them by more than 4.5 or by more than 5 points.
The thing in this, though, is we can't blame Rodgers for them not stopping anybody.
No.
Rodgers put up his 43 points.
Right.
He did his job.
Yeah.
He's going to win the MVP this year,
Absolutely.
too. It's not even close.
Absolutely no doubt.
It's not even close. He's first.
He hasn't had an interception at home in like over 350 throws.
2012.
It's amazing. Amazing. He's in a different league, that's for sure. Now.
Guys like Mark Sanchez and Colonoscopy Cutler throw interceptions at home every week.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, speaking of colonoscopy, and we know the private joke about that, Cutler has that stupid look on his face. Yeah. What's your opinion of Cutler? What do you think of him as?
I think he's a stiff. I can't stand him.
He's a meatball.
I mean, really, he's very disappointing. He looks like
talented.
He's getting a lot of money, but he looks like he's not having a good time out there. And that particular game, even though New Orleans has been pathetic so far this year, they really have, especially last week against Carolina. They get their butts kicked. But in this game here, I think I'd have to take New Orleans to rebound, even though they haven't had too many rebounds this year, that's for sure.
I'm going to take the Saints as well. Chicago's defense can't stop anybody. They're really bad.
They don't have Dick Butkus anymore?
They don't have Mike Singletary?
Right.
They don't have Jim Dent and...
oh, boy.
Who's the guy that...
Gail Sears.
Well, remember when they did that Super Bowl Shuffle video? Who was that guy? That guy Wilson. Otis Wilson dancing around. Yeah. That was the greatest video. I love that. Jim McMahon. By the way, a little aside on Jim McMahon, too. Now, how he always wore the shield? He is legally blind in one eye. That's amazing that a guy could play in the NFL for 10 years looking at one eye. Unbelievable, right? He was crazy, but I liked McMahon.
That 86 team was unbelievable.
28-17, the Saints. All right, we're on to our last game now. The Indianapolis Colts are favored by 6.5 points against the Houston Texans in the Dome. What do you think?
Well, I really like Indy at home. Mr. Luck, he can really throw that ball around. I think that I think they got a good offense. They struggle running the ball, but they throw the ball well. I think I like them to cover in the game.
Okay. Well, we'll respectfully disagree on this one.
Okay.
I like Houston to hang in there because I like their defense. They've played very well this year. J.J. Watt's been unbelievable. He's got like 2 defensive touchdowns, like 12 sacks, tackles for losses. He's catching touchdown passes. The guy's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's had a great
He
year.
really is.
He'll be in the MVP selection somewhere.
He's going to win defensive MVP of the year. I
absolutely.
already give it to him now. I like Indy to win, but Houston to cover because it's 27-23. All right. Well, thank you very much for doing the video with me. I really appreciate it. Had a good
fun.
time. It's been fun. It made it a little bit more interesting. I'm not doing my sermon over here. People might find this a little bit more interesting than I usually do. I like doing it. I hope maybe we can do it again shortly.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care. Everybody
easy
have a
now.
good night.